Tom Taylor, Sian Tormey, and Ruyari Coleman pit Superman against some familiar foes as John begins an investigation into some stolen Lex Corp technology that may prove deadly to him in the wrong hands. Tom Taylor continues Philip Kennedy Johnson's Kal-El Return storyline and his own post-Gamora War storylines with an issue that has some good, pure Superman content, following John on his usual day as Superman and everything he does in a day, all of which is just classic Superman heroics, of course, from saving people from natural disasters to hanging out with kids in hospitals. It's all presented in a fun, light-hearted way that builds on the lessons John has been learning as he becomes Superman. The lead up to Clark's return in the final pages was great, as Ultra Humanite made a return to the book and also brought with him the doubts John has had to deal with while stepping up into his father's cape. And on top of that, we also get the xenophobic stuff with people hating him because he's an alien or related to an alien. Stuff Taylor has been kind of sprinkling in throughout this entire series and building up, all of which looks to be paying off with the new villain Red Sin, a Red Sun powered villain who doesn't like the idea of alien heroes, specifically supermen. Despite only half appearing in the final page, the build up to Red Sin is pretty much all done, as Taylor easily relayed us the character's reasons for hating Superman, doesn't like the idea that he can take over governments and whatnot, and now he has a way to fight him thanks to the Red Sun technology, so I'm looking forward to finally getting to see him in the next issue. Sian Tormey and Ruyari Coleman tackle the art just like they've been doing for the last couple of issues, with wonderfully warm colours and some really cool action. The brief flashback to the Lois and Clark era with Superman's beard and black suit were fantastic and a great piece of visual storytelling, and the final pages with John reuniting with his father were really tastefully done, with not an inch of space on the page wasted. Get a brilliant one-page spread of them finally hugging after months of being apart. Superman, Son of Kal-El issue 16 was another fantastic installment in the Kal-El Return storyline, as well as plots that Tom Taylor has been building throughout his entire run, delivering some classic Superman heroics mixed in with the genesis of a new villain. It all makes for a wonderful superhero comic. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Superman, Son of Kal-El issue 16 finds John remembering years ago when his superhearing first kicked in and light breezes became that of thunder, and insects skittering along the ground became hammers banging on metal. John lays in a wheat field trying to stop the sounds when Clark finds him, knowing exactly what his son's going through as he went through it as well. He hugs his son, telling him to focus on something small and close by, like his heartbeat, which helps calm John down. John awakens in the present, having not heard his father's heartbeat in months, and since he's been gone, he's had to step up and become Superman. John gets up and goes to see his mother, who hasn't slept yet thanks to a new story she's been writing on evidence being removed from the Metropolis Police Department station. Evidence that was Luther-Tech from when he went to prison last, and she's trying to work out if Lex had stolen it back. John notes how his mother's coffee is cold, and Lois knows that Clark would always reheat it for her every day. She tells him to be careful, turning on the TV to show John more fallout from the incident in Gamora. John reminds her that as a journalist, she's been telling him not to ever read the comments, heating up her coffee as he takes off into space. John knows he does this every morning, flying further and faster off into space before stopping and looking even further with his telescopic vision, looking for his father. After he finishes, Superman begins his patrol of Earth, visiting children's hospitals, planting a few acres of trees in the Amazon, before checking in with Jay for lunch and Robin for a quick team-up. Superman then travels the world, helping people all over it. He soon meets with the man whose arm he broke a few weeks ago, wanting to see him earlier, but a few things had kept him busy. The man knows that Superman saved his life, but John says he usually does it without breaking people, asking if the man needs anything from him. The man can think of only one thing: getting John to sign his cast before he leaves for a quick game of fetch with Crypto, and checking in on Ma Kent and her famous pies, as well as quickly heading home to make sure his mother's coffee is still hot. Superman then goes to see Lex Luthor, asking the weightlifting man if he wants a spotter. Lex knows that his father always had the decency to hover outside the window and judge him from there, figuring the boy is far less respectful of people's personal space. Superman talks about the stolen Lex Corp technology taken from the police lockup, thinking that Lex has stolen it, but Lex plays coy with it, not happy with the idea that the police in his own town are so easily robbed. John can tell that he's telling the truth, or maybe he's lying and it just comes easy to him. Suddenly an explosion is heard from far off, with Superman racing to find out what it is as Mercy arrives, telling Lex that the equipment from the Red Sun experiments was what was taken from from lockup. Lex is upset that the alien has tricked the world into thinking it's a teenager and he'll make the world see him for who he is. Superman meanwhile heads to Stryker's Island, finding a bomb was set off inside. The hero deals with some of the fires and rescues a guard who suddenly tases the hero. Superman thinks the woman is in shock and just panicking, but her eyes begin to glow red as she wonders why she would want help from an alien freak like him. Superman begins to hear what she is saying in his head as Ultra Humanite attacks the hero both psychically and physically, trying to overwhelm him with his thoughts. Superman overcomes all of the bad thoughts and knows he can move faster than thought, using his super speed to race past the villain into his cage and grab the psionic dampener from the cell, fusing the connections back together with his heat vision and putting it around the villain's neck, negating all of his powers. Superman meets with the Warden, learning that the bomb was originally placed in front of Cell 4, and they were moving it when it went off. John finds that Metallo is in Cell 4, making Humanite lament about how if someone wants him out of prison, it means someone wants Superman dead. John knows that he's right thanks to the kryptonite in Metallo's body as he begins to hear something familiar, causing him to speed away from the monologuing Ultra Humanite. As John rockets into the sky, he hears what Ultra Humanite put in his head again, listening to all of the doubts about him being a hero and a person and an alien, but then he hears another sound above it all, one he hasn't heard in a long while. John flies into the arms of his father, telling Clark that he looked for him every day. Clark knows his son was going to do that, knowing that he couldn't leave Earth, but now he doesn't have to because his father is back and he is safe. Later on in an internet chat room, people talk about how Superman, the alien, invaded a country. A user named Red Sin says he can do something about it, having stolen Lex's Red Sun tech, which he wants to use to make Superman less special.